Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspired Driving interview series. I'm here today with my dear friend, Carrie Damato. She has the Dark Horse Arena. She's an amazing instructor. She's a
Thank you.
judge. You're welcome. And she is down in Florida. And she's also owner and show manager of the Saltwater Show Series. And she's actually invited me to become a clinician there down in Florida. Sorry, it's been a long day in June. So I'm most excited to be able to help people down there that are showing in that series. It should be a lot of fun. So Carrie,
It's going to be great.
Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Anytime. It's always a pleasure. Always.
So I'm going to ask you a fun question to start.
Okay.
I'm handing you $10 million. What's the first thing you would do?
Travel the world and visit all my friends that I do not get to see long enough. Life is too short. Hug the people, buy the pony, eat the cake.
Love it. So, what kind of pony?
Anything that is 4 legs, a head to tail, and is sound and sane at the same time.
I like it. Safe and sound and sane. And what kind of cake?
Anything.
Nice.
I will never say no to cake. Yes.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Can you tell us a little bit about your beginning experience with riding?
Sure. I grew up in the middle of Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville is the largest city in the United States if you go by acreage. So the entirety of Duval County is the city of Jacksonville. It is a massive place. It is a Navy town. My family's been there for some time. I did not grow up in horses. I was the horse crazy kid that played with stick ponies. I taught the little tiny miniature Shetland dog how to lunge. I started riding, I don't even remember when. I would ride the little coin operated horse in front of the Kmart on Blanding, for those of you who are familiar with Jacksonville, until I cried when I was told to get off. From there, it's just I grabbed it when I could. My cousin leased it in Appaloosa for a while. And then I went to work for a gentleman who had a party pony business. And my job, because I was little, I was about 11 at the time, I would break the ponies for the party pony business. So that was a lot of fun. The older gentleman, he's long since passed away, was a good boy who did not finish high school. He had a very successful business, and then when he retired, he did party ponies. So he did not do math very well. So the average, I'm going to age myself here, and you guys are going to laugh. Minimum wage was $3.75 at the time, and I made $4 an hour because he was bad at math. I made more money than my brother's cutting lawns.
Oh my God!
And
well, I think that's fair. Having to ride Greenville ponies. Yep.
Right. Oh man, they're wow. If ponies don't keep you humble, I don't know what will. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've always said I've come off more ponies than horses because they move so quick and there's nothing left. Yeah.
Well, we say they're meaner because they're short and they're closer to hell. So I've met a couple of Shetland ponies that definitely qualify as that, but I still love them. I do. I love the little ones. But from there, it was just I would grab rides. And then from that, it was just a series of unbelievable luck that the universe put me in the path of some of the greatest riders that I've ever known in my life. And from there, you just soak it in like a sponge. And that's how I became what I am today.
That's fantastic. Who are some of the riders you got to work with?
I think probably the one that's most recognizable in Western circuits would be Zane Davis, out of Montana. He's done the World's Greatest Horseman. If you Google the NCHA horse, NRCHA Raminator, he rode Raminator to great success for Sandy Simonak. I worked under Sandy well, worked for Sandy under Zane and got to ride some of the 2-year-olds that were up and coming, which was a lot of fun. That was the first time I have ever ridden a horse that cost probably 10 times worth of what a house cost back in the day.
Wow.
Very high dollar, very nice reiners, good minds. Let's see, some of the other ones are some Canadians you may have heard. There's a nice gentleman named by the name of Captain Canada. He's known as Captain Canada. Most people have, he introduces himself as Ian Miller. I got to ride with him. There's just some really great ones that don't have the ego to be the superstar riders that I know that they are. There's a couple of local trainers here that I really enjoy working with, and hopefully, Beth, you'll be able to see a couple of them, because I think I may have strong-armed one or two to participate in the clinic. So we'll see how that goes.
That's exciting. I love it.
I had just series of great luck. Some of the horses that have been in my life have just made me what I am, and I'm forever fortunate.
Beautiful. So that comes to my next question. What are some of the life lessons that the horses have taught you?
The ability to adapt. You have to, in this industry and if this is your passion, you've got to be able to adapt to setbacks, to unbelievable, just what we call stupid luck. You have to be able to take everything in stride. And if you put yourself in a box and stay in that box, that's how you become stagnant. You'll never learn, you'll never grow, you'll stay where you're at. And sometimes being outside of that box is not fun. It is scary. But to be able to adapt to those changes, that's the key, adaptability.
Absolutely. I love that. Oh, so speaking of growing, is there something new that you've learned that you wanted to share?
With horses, you have to be able to laugh. Sometimes it's that astronomical vet bill, and it's either laugh or cry. Sometimes it's just that breakthrough aha training moment that you have with another instructor or with your horse itself, is just to laugh. I'm currently rehabbing a quarter horse right now who is, she's halter bred, but she's got brains. Her great grandpa was Conclusive, who is the sire to Impressive. She is not related to Impressive. She's by another son. But anyway, it's a big tank of a mare. And I'm discovering buttons that I didn't know she had. She's a Western Pleasure Congress champion, former. And it's just nice to be able to have something in the pasture that is push button. And I didn't know she knew this stuff. So that's really, really neat. I'm enjoying her a lot.
I love that so much. And I bet she enjoys having a knowledgeable and caring rider to work with her.
Oh, she's sweet. She will let you know. She's very good about communication, which I really like. Yeah. Some of my horses are real stoic. Those of you who know Alex knew that he was just an absolute beast of an animal. He was a manly man. He did not let you know anything. You just kind of had to figure him out. But she is so expressive. She will let you know exactly what she's thinking. She will communicate crystal clear. And I haven't had a horse like that in a very long time. It's refreshing. It really is.
She sounds like a true New Yorker to me.
Oh my God, she is. Whew. I bet she'd probably go for some good bagels, that's for sure.
Oh, I miss the good bagels. If you guys didn't know, I'm actually from New York, so that's why I say things like this. And we tell it like it is. We don't mess about.
Oh yeah, nope.
I love that. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. When I was trying out horses, I was looking for that for sure. And Pepper seemed very clear about what he was wanting or not wanting. To the moment where if he didn't feel like jumping, he kind of like tried to pull me away, and the seller's like, get after him. And I'm thinking, I don't get after ponies. I just get a little more clear and assertive, but I didn't want to have to have that discussion. I just was like, okay, we're going to do this. And he went for it, and it was awesome. But yeah, it's so much nicer when they tell you what's happening. Yeah. So what's something that you wish you had known from the start of your horse journey?
that other people's opinions do not matter.
Say it again.
A little bit louder for those in the back. The opinions of others have absolutely nothing to do with your journey. And if you listen to that, negativity, it's just going to weigh you down. Cut them loose, let them float away, and just enjoy the time that you have.
I love that. That's so smart. And it sometimes takes a while for people to let that go. And
very much so.
Yeah. So Sunshine in the group, she wanted to know, when do you feel the most satisfied with your horse relationships?
That's a good one. I have I have 6 in my herd, and they are so different in each one. If Solo walks up to you and acknowledges your existence on this planet, that is connection. I am happy with that. He is very, very aloof. So if he walks up to you and reaches out, that is something. He did that the other morning for the first time in months. You just have to meet him on his terms. Scotty, the AQHA mare that I have, one that I was talking about, you can just whistle for her and she'll come right up. Aww. Like a dog, and it just gives me the warm and tinglies. It's really neat. Each one is so different. I have a very healthy respect for my retired AQHA mare. She's a foundation mare. She's one that, I kind of like to bring out and let people know that if you don't connect on a base level, it's okay. As long as you mutually respect each other, which is what we have. And I've known her for a very long time. I've only owned her for about probably 14, 15 years. But I've known her for a very, very long time, and that's the respect that we have towards each other. And when we meet an end goal together and we're on the same page, I mean, that's good for her. But if you take that and transfer that to Scotty, she's not going to be happy. She wants the warm and fuzzies, and Pumpkin we want to meet in the middle and then head towards the end of the goal, and we're both in agreement on that. So and I could go on with these guys because there's 6 of them here. So it's very different for each individual horse.
That's so good. And that's what I love about them, is all their different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And they invite us to get creative with ours sometimes.
Yes.
And pull out the different facets of ourselves to help them.
Yes, and you can't put them in a box, so you have to be able to be adaptable and think outside that box. I mean, connection with Tony is playing tug of war over a pool noodle because he's chasing everybody else around with one. So, oh my gosh. Tony. Well, I mean, that's just who he is.
Hilarious.
And I wouldn't want him any other way.
Can you, there was a moment where I was thinking about how they're making you laugh. Can you tell everyone about the story where he was put in timeout by the mares?
Oh my gosh, I have pictures of this too. So that one was actually, I think it was solo because Tony was part of it. So
okay,
I have 2 geldings and 4 mares. 2 geldings, 4 mares. The 2 geldings are ponies. They're Pasafinos. One is Puerto Rican, one is Colombian. They're 13-1 and 13-2 respectively. So they're short. Yeah. You don't tell them that though. They are 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and they think they are just the cat's meow. Well, when it was cold a couple of weeks ago, actually more like a couple of months ago, it was very cold here in Florida, and everybody had coats on except for the boys, because Tony is a nudist and refuses to wear anything, and Solo is just too good for our duds. He would be wrapped in ermine and gold brocade. Solo apparently was tormenting everybody. He was running around doing the zoomies just like a dog does, but as he was zooming, he was picking on everybody. He was biting them, throwing a leg, just being a pest. It was no other words. He was actually being just a ridiculous pest, and they all got tired of him. And my barn is in an L shape, and I have 2 stalls on one leg, 2 stalls on the other. I leave my doors open so that they can go in and out at will. And they all kind of herded him into a stall and then stood guard in front of it to keep him in the stall so they could have 5 minutes of peace from this pest. And it was the funniest thing I think I've seen this herd do. All 5 horses staring at him in the stall in timeout. I'll drop the picture of the group later, but it just still cracks me up when I think about it.
Needed to freeze him in carbonite for a little while.
Oh my gosh. There's nobody would pay the bounty for him. We'd have to pay somebody to take him.
That's so funny.
They kill me.
Those pictures were hilarious. Thank you for sharing that.
Will do. And I'll drop them in this group as well.
Oh, yes, please. Okay, so let me continue with Sunshine's question. She said, what's one habit or thing that you do consistently that makes the most difference in either your horse riding or personal wellness?
It would be, again, not caring what other people think. What other people thinks. Nobody can ride my horse the way I do. Nobody knows him or her the way I do. Nobody knows my body the way I do. I do ride with disabilities, so if you tell me to add more leg, it might not happen just because I can't physically do it. So if you think I'm a crap rider, more power to you. I know that I'm doing the best of my ability, and I'm riding the horse I have, not the one I wish I had. So I think that would be boiled down. Yeah.
I love that. So good. If you had a magic wand, what would you change in the horse world?
The perception that and I'm using huge air quotes, well-bred horse is more expensive than something else. Mm-hmm. You can't ride papers. And I'm tired of that papered bias and that breed bias. It's not healthy for any of us. It's not healthy for the equine market, and it's not healthy for the horses themselves. I mean, look at the horse world right now. Now there was an auction last month where a Gypsy Vanner gelding sold for $500,000. He's beautiful. If you don't know who he is, just Google auction Cadbury, like the bunnies, the Cadbury is his name. I've seen him in person at the gypsy shows. He's gorgeous, but $500,000. And yet I've got a horse out here in my yard that doesn't have papers, physical papers that we can get our hands on. And he is the most well-gated Pasofino naturally gated Pasofino that you've ever seen in your life. But he's of less value because he has no papers. Why? Makes no sense.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And I understand the necessity to record a lineage, because with that you can come up with health issues, you can keep track of what's what, and prohibit some potentially deadly health issues. But at the same time, I mean, it's just a record. It doesn't determine their worth. What would people be if we had papers like that? I mean, I'd definitely be a mutt. But one of the funniest ones that I've heard about, though, was if anybody follows the Last Chance Corral, they're here in the United States, and they take on nurse mare babies, especially the PMU babies, and they have an Appalachian warm blood, and it's their term for a mutt. Appalachia, from the Appalachian Mountains, and they call them Appalachian warm bloods. And follow them. They've got some cute babies. If you want to adopt a baby, that's definitely a place I would go to. But yeah. So I'm going to start calling everything a warm blood, I guess. I don't know.
That's so funny. Yeah, well, when we got back Cordelia's paper lineage, it just said super mutt.
Yeah, she's definitely super. Yeah. It's probably royal bred in there too. I mean, because she is a princess.
She is.
For sure, sure.
Princess Cordelia, for sure. She's all curled up happy. She loves when I do these interviews because she likes to just chill when Mom's on Zoom.
Aww.
Can you describe one of your best riding lessons or best ride ever?
In the non-show world, I would say it was probably the lesson the trail ride that I had with Alex, my Paso gelding, where we finally decided that we were on the same page. So at the time I lived about 150 yards from the entrance to a state forest. So we could ride directly from my yard down the road and bam, we were in the state forest. Not a large state forest, but still it's a lot of fun. And at the time it was springtime and we were riding through about chest high palmettos. Now, Alex was one of the most difficult horses I've ever had to deal with in my entire life. And in order to get him out the gate, you had to do a reining spin and make him dizzy and then run out the gate. I've probably told this story before. So, you know, we had been fighting, and this is before I discovered, you know, that I did not know everything. Because, you know, when you're 20, you're invincible, right? Yeah, all of us are. I did not realize how much I did not know at this time. So, you know, I figured I was just going to outsmart him, and joke's on me. That didn't happen. So I finally got him out the gate, down the road, into the brush. And here in Florida, we have chest high palmettos. These are basically palm fronds that grow from a very thick, very heavy stump. And on a horse, they're about chest high. They're very thick. On foot, you cannot walk through them without a machete. Wow. So we were going through here, and he spooked a Piney Woods hog, which is a native Florida hog. And she had a litter of piglets. So we went crashing through this chest high palmettos, cannot see the forest floor. She chased us, which is very rare for this type of hog. She chased us for a good 10-15 minutes. And this was over at least 2 miles, if not more. And I just let the reins go, let him have his head. I figured that was my best view, or my best way to get us both out, is just to let him make the decisions. So after a while, you know, she gave up, and he was still crashing through, and I didn't want to correct him because I had already made this decision. He's on his own. I can't bail. Florida is full of rattlesnakes. So we've got moccasins. I mean, there's no telling, I might land on another hog. Who knows?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he came to a stop, and we were both pretty hot and sweaty after that, and we came to an understanding. Okay, I'm gonna trust you. You've got the brains, you've got the instinct. And he pretty much, that was the time, or the time that I can put my finger on, where he knew that I didn't know what I didn't know, and that we were gonna work through this together. So that was it. We instantly came to an agreement where we will not try to push each other around, as long as neither one of us decided to have a death wish or try to take the other one out. So that was him. He was rocket powered for sure. But that we came to that agreement right there. And that was probably the greatest ride that I've ever had, regardless of what awards are in the show ring or whatnot, because we were on the same page finally. And it was pretty cool. And I will never forget that. Never. And even now, the state forest is still protected. I can take you right down to the trail that we crashed through. It's cut back a lot now because of some of the fires that we've had. But yep, that was it.
It's amazing. What a pivotal moment for the both of you.
For sure.
Amazing. I can't even imagine. I'm glad you were both safe. What's one of the best pieces of advice you've had about horses?
So we have a absolutely wonderful trainer here in this area, and he's also a phenomenal farrier. And I've had the opportunity to ride and work with him several times. And I think the best advice he's ever given me, and bless it, I should put it on a shirt or tattoo it on my body somewhere, I don't know. So I'm a huge overthinker. I want to dive into the multiverse. I want to open the portals like Doctor Strange and see every possible outcome to every decision. And he told me to shut up and ride. Just enjoy the moment while you have it. because time is fleeting. You never know when it'll be your last ride. So enjoy every moment. Quit overthinking. Enjoy it, no matter how long it is, no matter if you're riding or not, if you're just walking around your horse or just hanging out, listening to them munch on hay. I cannot stand the sound of anybody eating, but I will listen to a horse anytime, all day long.
I think that's a really common thing with horse people. Yeah.
just shut up and ride, and hopefully you guys will be able to see him when you come down to the clinic. I'm hoping to get him on board as my paddock master.
Awesome.
And I hope he'll be able to ride.
Very cool. That sounds fun. I would love to meet him. And that reminds me, a while back, I had everyone do a little challenge of what are your Kodak moments. If you think about certain moments while you're riding or just while you're with your horse, what would you want to capture in your mind and your heart to remember later on? And I do that a lot, and that helps me stay present. And I think about all these little moments and how to enjoy it more and how to be there with them. And imagine I'm taking a photo of it and keeping that in a catalog for my memories later on.
That's awesome. It is the truth, and be able to recall some of these moments is just amazing. Certain smells will trigger certain moments. I remember getting my very first brand new saddle. I saved for the saddle, and the saddle conditioner that I use is called Skidmore's. It's fantastic. If you don't have it, you can find it on Amazon. It's all natural, and it doesn't really change the color of your saddle either. It smells good. But I happened to crack open a couple of months ago. I happened to crack open a new container of Skidmore's for a bridle, and that smell took me back to the feeling of opening that box of that brand new saddle with my name on it. And it was just the coolest thing.
What kind of saddle was it?
It was just a real simple all-purpose Western saddle. I still have it.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, maybe one butt cheek will fit in it now, but I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it.
Yeah. Yeah, my first saddle also had my nameplate on it, and it was a Crosby Predonations. And
oh yes.
And gosh, I loved changing the color from that bright orange to that dark brown.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see that transformation. And I took such pride in that because that was before I even owned a horse. It was like my first step towards maybe having a horse, you know.
It's a real deal. Mm-hmm. I love it.
I totally get that feeling. That's awesome. Yeah, and the smells are so amazing about bringing back memories, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And do you notice each one of your horses has a different smell in their muzzle?
Yep. Yeah. For sure. And depending on if they have their long coat, their winter coat, or their short coat, they have a different smell. It's so weird. I don't know if it's because of like the grass changes, because here in Florida, you know, we lose the grass in the wintertime, so we feed a lot more hay. And I don't know if that hay affects it, and then green grass, I don't know. But yeah, they smell different when they have their winter versus their summer coats. It's odd.
That's wild. I'll need to pay attention to that a little more. Okay, so if you were to write on a billboard for everyone in the horse world to see, what would it say?
That is awesome. Enjoy the ride.
I love it.
However long it may be, enjoy it.
Beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to share that I didn't ask you?
We had a really good conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was a really neat talking point, especially in the show world. If you show, number one, you have more guts, and you are braver than anybody else around you, because you are literally paying somebody to judge you. So number one, you show up that day, you've already won something over anybody else. But do not judge a horse by its rider. or the rider by its horse, because you're not in that saddle. That we had this long drawn out conversation. It was a really, really good one, because what we see, especially in the show ring, we see what, 7, 10, 15 minutes in a class. And that's all we see. We don't see the behind the scenes. For every minute in that show pen, there are hours that went into that. And that whole, I mean, that and the point of, if you are having a bad ride in the show world itself, people are going to look at that and go, oh, wow, that's different. But they don't see everything that happened behind the scenes. So I don't know, this sounds kind of rambly, but just don't judge that book by its cover. You can't. I've had some impressively bad rides. I mean, oh my gosh.
Well, it's kind of like the iceberg analogy. If you think about it, you're just seeing the tip of it, and you're not seeing all the things that went into it. And then plus, you know, we all know horses, every day is different. The weather can change that much, and then their mood's going to change just like us. So it's really hard to get into the idea of being in shows and expecting our horses to show up like a motorcycle. It's just not feasible.
Exactly. And it's not. There are those people that do treat them like a tool, and they do not understand why they do not do well in the show ring. Well, you didn't put the effort and the energy and the investment in yourself and that horse. And it sounds, you know, that like I'm really preachy, you know, everybody go show. No, it is not for everybody. No, there are people that I know that are probably some of the most fantastically naturally gifted riders who have no desire to show. And that's okay. That is perfectly fine. Just don't judge a book by its cover. Just don't. You don't know what's going on. And as far as, and I know this is really rambly, I apologize. As far as that show mentality, though, if you're thinking about it and you feel intimidated, go with somebody, ask somebody, hang out in the ring, volunteer, become a ring steward, which helps the judge out. So most judges, myself included, are more than happy to answer questions while we're judging. So if you're wanting to get into that show world, just reach out, volunteer, go with another barn, hang out with them. But just don't be too intimidated. Yes, some of us make it look easy, but some of us, we have had some spectacularly bad rides. Just, oh my God, enter at sea, go all the way down. Hey, yeah, and I did say enter at sea. I have entered behind the judge. Oh yeah, it was, what did the scorecard say? Unexpected entry. Yes. So we decided to call that the Spanish Inquisition. So if you're a Monty Python fan, you know, nobody suspect. Yes, it was, wow, it was impressively bad. That was probably the most entertaining dressage ride I've ever had in my life. And she just let me go with it because it was a schooling show.
Right.
And I was like, am I excused, or can I maybe try? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was so bad.
And there are days like that. Yeah, the first time I took Biffy to his dressage show, I mean, he was a Western pleasure guide. He humored me in the English classes after. And then we did our first dressage show, and he must have known the judge was not a nice man. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, so we got to X and we halted. Instead of proceeding forward, he went backwards. He did a beautiful moonwalk, and then I had to literally talk him through the whole thing. So I got tons of points off for like speaking. You know,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But yeah, exactly. So, you know, we all have good days and bad days. You have to start somewhere. So I love that idea of volunteering and asking tons of questions, if that is what gets you excited and inspires you. So yeah, definitely go for it. And then yeah, just keep learning, right? That's the biggest thing.
Yes, I am just, that's the great thing about this universe, is that there's always something new to learn, always something new. And to be able to challenge yourself and to admit that you don't know everything, is the science is always changing. Feed protocols are always changing. Stay on top of that. Some of the techniques and training stuff that's out there, try to learn it all if you can, at least observe it, because you never know when you might need that tool, that little trick, or that saying that you overheard that one time may click with you and the horse that you're currently working with. And you just never know. Always learn. Don't keep yourself on a shelf. Don't put yourself in the box. You're going to get stale. You're going to get musty. Get out and learn and have fun.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, why do it? And there are certain aspects of horse keeping we all know. I mean, I love getting up in the dark to check on horses because the temperature has dropped 50 degrees and one of them will inevitably say, "Oh, I shall surely perish. Let me colic." I love getting up at 2 a.m., in knee-deep water to go check on these horses. That part sucks. Yes, we all know. But you can laugh at it later. I mean, the mud harvest here is great this year. Good God. It is so muddy right now. I can't even look my arena because it's muddy at the moment. We just had a huge storm system come through back to back, and dumped a ton of rain for us. And then again, at least, I'm not digging my car out of snow. So, yay.
It's all about perspective. That's why I moved down here.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
So awesome. Carrie, thank you so much for being here tonight to chat with me.
No problem, even through the technical issues and maybe in the studio instead of somewhere else. I appreciate it. And if you guys want to come on down to the Saltwater Show Series, we will be the first week in June. Come see Beth. We will be auditing, or you will be able to spectate for free and audit. And with that audit, you'll be able to ask questions of the riders, the horses, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's at the Jacksonville Equestrian Center. It's one of the largest indoor arenas here in the Southeast. Climate control, the whole 9 yards. Come on down, say hi.
I love it.
Sure. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. These are some really good questions too.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here. And remember, everyone, to lead with kindness for yourself and for your horse. And may the horse be with you always.
Always. Thank you, Beth.